Okay, hi. I'm jumping in for Julie, who can't be here. And we're going to finish up this chapter on quantum physics from A Happy Pocket Full of Money before we kiss this book goodbye for the moment. But I really thought we would take David's suggestion and go back and review these two chapters, quantum physics and the one on time, so that we can really let the other material have the context that he intended it to have, you know? And I think it's going to land a little differently. Hope so, anyway. So to just jump right in, I want to start by talking a little bit about a perspective that I've been considering about the time that we're living in right now, as the world is in chaos. Really, like, so many systems are being disrupted. And the way I look at it is that the old paradigm, the old way of thinking, the old way of behaving, the status quo is being disrupted because the old systems are falling apart. You know, the government, the money system, the way we treat the planet. I mean, you can really look at all the problems in the world and see that they're dysfunctioning, which is causing a lot of fear and panic and shutdown. And it makes me think that instead of reacting to this chaos that's being stirred up as a result of the systems breaking down and things are collapsing, our version of reality is shifting very quickly. And instead of reacting in fear, which is the thinking that instilled these systems in the first place, the fear, you know, these dysfunctional systems or paradigms are based on the idea of separation. I'm here and you're over there. I need to protect myself because you're separate and you're a threat to me. It's the whole paradigm of separation, of divide and conquer, of protection, of separation. If we really take this quantum physics to heart, that if the universe is flashing in and out and recreating and recreating itself over and over again by where we place our awareness, right? That's the main thing that I get from quantum physics. Wouldn't it be possible to create an entirely new world order of unity and oneness and wholeness and love? Because we know from quantum physics that we're not separate, that we could create a respect for nature. We could respect societies that are based on gratitude and abundance. I have more than I need, let me give you some, you know, because it's actually just one thing. So that's a very holistic approach to the problems that we're facing. Instead of reacting, we can create or co-create a whole different world order, you could say. And I think that the time of upheaval, when you just can't sustain the same old because it's falling apart, you can either buy into the same way of thinking that created the problems in the first place, or you can come up with a whole different approach and know that you are creating the reality that you're experiencing. It's an opportunity to think different, to borrow from Nike. I love that. Think different. The world is flashing in and out. It's going from the wave of infinite possibilities to the particle created by where we're placing our awareness. So how if all the multiverses, all the different possibilities are coexisting right now, how do we create what we want based on the reality of we're not separate? And how does quantum physics fit into the practical application of the time that we're living in? It's just food for thought. I don't think there's that many people that know about this or have considered this. We're used to thinking in terms of separation. We're used to thinking in terms of blame. Why doesn't somebody do something about this? You know, why don't they do something about this? Because they're over there and I'm over here. But this chapter suggests, it points out that atoms are 99.99999 and a whole bunch of nines, 99.9999999, lots of nines, percent space. Space is energy. So when you think about the trillions of atoms that are in our bodies as a human being, you can really consider that that space is energy and that we are actually made up of energy, which is light. So we are very, very powerful, really powerful, individually and collectively. We're made up of light. If you took all the space out of all the people in the world, 7.9 billion, is that how many people live on the earth? And you took all the empty space away and you just had the matter from all those people, it would fit in a sugar cube. Think about that. That really gets me going. So I'm going to jump into the chapter here, but I just thought I'd like set that up as a what about that? So, you know, he talks a lot in this chapter about multiverses coexisting at the same time. He talks about your past, present, and future existing now. And for some reason, it made me think of this story that actually happened to me in Mexico on one of the incentive trips a couple of years ago. And I can't remember where we were, if we were in Cabo or Cancun or wherever, because they all start to kind of bleed together. But we were dancing outside by the pool and it was super hot. You know, it was just really hot. We were dancing. I was dancing like I always do, like a little freak, right? And I got just so sweaty. And I said to my friend, let's just go and lie on some lounge chairs for a second. I just need to like dry off, right? So we went over to the lounge chairs by the pool and we're lying there looking up at the sky and you can see the palm trees kind of going like this, right? And it's dark outside, but you can see the palm trees from the lights around the pool. And I'm lying there looking at the palm trees blowing. And I said to myself, I wonder if I can make it rain. And I had the feeling that I could. And if you counted 3 beats, all of a sudden it started to pour. It poured rain, and rain was not predicted in the forecast. And everybody ran inside. I mean, this wasn't just a few drops. It like the skies opened up and it poured. And as I'm inside with everybody else, I thought, I really actually made it rain. That's amazing. Now you could say that's just a coincidence. Sure. You could say that my future self knew it was going to rain in about 3 seconds. Or you could say that I thought of it. I pictured it. I liked the picture. I had an emotional charge to it. And I believed that I could, because when I remember this, I actually believed that I could make it rain. For that second, I just did for some reason. And then it started to pour down rain. So was that the future me? Was that synchronicity? Was that, my senses picking up something beyond, the usual realm of what we see, feel, and hear? I have no idea. But I'm just thinking about how to make the impossible possible, because all things exist now. All possibilities exist in the now. So the possibility that I could make it rain actually is a possibility, which I think is really interesting. So back to the book. I pulled this out. Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, states that the energy contained in any matter is equal to the mass of the matter multiplied by the speed of light squared. And he says that's a very large number, which shows us two things. Even the smallest tiny piece of matter has a tremendous amount of energy in it. And that's how nuclear explosions are made. You and everything else are just energy arranged together by information from the mind. So I'm just wondering if we really took the personal responsibility for the power that we have as these beings with very little matter, made up of energy and light, energy which is light, could it be that we're really afraid of how powerful we are? And that's what's holding us back. Maybe we sense it, or maybe we're just discovering it. He talks about the possibility of something occurring in a place, A, B, C, or D, that if we're aware of it and see, the other possibilities dissolve, and this Everett Wheeler-Graham theory suggests that all force exists simultaneously, because it's a multi-dimensional hologram that we're living in. The many worlds interpretation is what it's called. And he says that they inform each other, which is really interesting, because you have to have something else to have something. You have to have something to compare it to. So you have to have tall to have short. You have to have something to identify the something that you've chosen. So if all of the A, B, C, and D exist simultaneously, you experience the one that you choose, but the other ones exist almost as reference points of what you didn't choose. It's still there. You can touch it with your mind and go, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. Don't want to step in front of that bus, or whatever it might be, So I started thinking about this, and I thought, every time your mind moves, every time your awareness changes, your reality changes. It's that subtle. Anybody who's ever meditated for even 5 minutes knows how much their mind moves. A lot. So to witness how your mind moves, like in meditation, every point of awareness creates a different choice in that moment, a different choice of your so-called reality. If you're sitting on a meditation cushion, you're thinking about a hamburger, your reality at that moment is the hamburger. The awareness that is choosing, you may not even be aware of. You may not be aware of what you're aware of. And that's the whole key, is to become aware of where you're placing your attention. I think it's the key to co-creating what you want. I think it's the key to changing the world. And as far as I can tell, we need to start thinking like that. Our senses perceive only a small fraction of what's really there. Your senses are limited. Like, take your visual sense. You only see like a teeny tiny little sliver of a fraction of the spectrum of rays that you could perceive if you didn't have limited senses. And our senses are what we base everything on. That's our data. It's the data that is sent back to our brain, and our brain interprets that data to create our reality, all of it. And most of what our brain uses to create this so-called reality is past information, our experience of that some other time. So you could say that we have a very limited understanding of what's really going on. You're interpreting it through your data center. You're interpreting what your senses are sending to your brain. He talks about Schrodinger's cat and how that poor cat was both dead and alive inside the box at the same time until it was observed as being either dead or alive. There was a moment when it was both, you know. He talks about the ripple of a joke, like when two people are kind of, you know, maybe depressed and one tells the other the joke and they both get a little uplifted, and then maybe that person goes and tells some other people the joke. And so that one small thing has a ripple that doesn't end, actually. And I just saw this thing on Gaia by this guy named Billy Carson, I believe his name is, and it was about quantum physics. And he was talking about like the I Love Lucy show from the 1950s and how the broadcast of that, even in like, let's say 1958, did they have TV then? I don't know, I think so. Is still going out into space and will never stop. Think about that. Nothing ever goes away. It doesn't dissolve into nothing. It's still there. The I Love Lucy is out in space somewhere, and it could be perceived hundreds, thousands of years from now by who knows who on the other end of who knows what. They could pick up I Love Lucy. It just gets you to think a little bigger. Like everything that you think is actually doesn't stop. It's never ending. It goes forever. You could say it's the cause and effect, but that implies that there's time. I mean, you can start to really, your mind starts to really get a little like, you know, bent trying to wrap your head around this stuff. I just look at it like everything is always exchanging energy. Nothing ever goes anywhere. It just changes and morphs into different manifestations. That if we really look at it that way, because everything is interconnected, I'm breathing the oxygen that tree that I see outside my window has produced. So we are connected, you know, we are interdependent. And that's the interesting point too, back to changing the world, is that because everything is interdependent, what happens to one person happens to everybody. What happens to the planet happens to us. We are interconnected. We wouldn't be here if we didn't have the elements. And how are we honoring the elements is how we're honoring ourselves. And a really good example of this is, it's been said that if a person attains enlightenment, they see everything as enlightened. And that's probably why they're laughing all the time, these Buddhist yogis or whoever, is that they have people coming to them saying, I wish I could be enlightened like you. And they see this enlightened person saying this to them, you know, and they know that they already are, you know, because that's who they are and that's what they see. That you experience the world as you are. So now that I've totally confused everybody, I just want to read one more little thing and then we can have a conversation. Hopefully this is making your wheels turn. David says, quantum physics shows you that the world is not the hard and unchangeable thing it may appear to be. Instead, it's a very fluid place, continuously built up using our individual and collective thoughts and states of being as individuals, a family, a society, a country, a planet, a solar system, or a universe. We have begun to uncover the illusion. We now know what our four-dimensional experiences are made of, and we begin to see how we make them. The next step is to know what the other part of our world is, the fourth dimension, time, really is, and that's what we're going to discuss next week. So I'd love to hear any comments or thoughts.
So what you just read there about how we make them, I don't understand that. Could you explain what that means to you, that last bit?
We now know what our four-dimensional experiences are made of.
Yes.
And to see how we make our experiences. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's over my head. I don't.
We select our experiences by where we place our awareness, what we're focusing on. What we choose to see, we see. Whatever we actually we're seeing a reflection of who we're actually being. So if we don't like the reflection, we can change the first cause, which is what we're being, or as Joe Dispenza says, the thought of who we're being, you know, that we actually aren't a victim of our circumstances at all. We create the whole thing.
How does the interacting of other people affect the creation? It's interdependent. Like these waves go out, right? And they go out endless, but then they come back magnified. That's we accept that.
Right.
So there's this dance of participants playing in our reality. So and then I guess if we don't like the dance, they fall away, or I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting that you use both the word dance and the word play, which is exactly what I would have brought up, is that you can dance with it and you can play with it. You can play with the dance, you can dance with the play. It isn't a solid thing. It isn't something that's happening to you. It's something that's happening on your behalf because you actually selected it, whether you did it consciously or unconsciously. You've actually decided the lens of your perception by who you've decided to be. Where's your energy? Where are you placing your energy? Where are you placing your awareness? It's a much different life for someone who actually brings their awareness to what they're bringing their awareness to. That meta awareness is really important. What are you thinking about? How are you showing up? What do you expect? You know, all of these things are part of your your state of being, right?
Right.
You actually have control over that, whether you think you do or not. You can actually manifest as whatever you want. You could be totally delightful and delighted all the time. You could be a yogi who dances the dance of life, knowing that it's ephemeral, knowing that it's not solid, knowing that it's an exchange of energy. And, you know, if something happens that isn't fun or pleasant, or somebody's rude to you or whatever, you can actually choose to have compassion. You can choose to leave the room. I mean, you know, there's an infinite possibilities in every single moment. But you're definitely not a prisoner of whatever it is that you're experiencing at all. You know, it might seem like it, but it's actually that fluid, that malleable. You know, we're not a victim of the coronavirus. It's a thing that's happening, but you know, the amount of fear that's being poured into it, what do you think that attention is doing? It's making it this giant monster at the door, and everybody thinks that if they lock the door and buy all the toilet paper and all the Purell, they're gonna create this barricade and keep themselves even more separate. I got a news tip for that person, is like, that is just hooey. It's completely wrong thinking, you know? You can't fight fear. You can't fight fear with more fear, you know? It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
It's absolutely ridiculous. What does Italy think they're gonna do? Stay inside for the rest of eternity? You know? Oh, we've solved this problem. We're all in our own houses now. Like the air doesn't come in through the window, or you know, nobody's gonna deliver the mail or anything, you know. I'm never gonna associate with anyone ever again. I just think it's just like really obvious how faulty that thinking is, and how
Mm.
it just perpetuates more of the same kind of anxiety and fear. That I'm not saying that, you know, I have I have a universal solution, but I'm pretty sure that the solution isn't, you know,
More fear.
all you do for the rest of your life is wash your hands and never kiss anybody ever again, and never, you know, eat an apple with your hand, and you got to use gloves or whatever it is, you know. Just take a look at that prime example that's dancing across our collective consciousness right now. It's really interesting. It's the perfect example of like what not to do. I think. My opinion only. Somebody else talk.
No, I agree with you. I think it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not saying I'm gonna fly to China anytime soon, but you know, there's anyway.
It's extreme. It's an extreme response to the unknown, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Yes, it is.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, I have a friend who was on the ship that was, you know, sequestered off the coast of California, and they weren't allowed off and all this stuff. And she was completely fine, happy, grateful, relaxed, sending texts from the ship. I'm thinking, well, yeah, what's she gonna do? Freak out, you know,
Yeah.
in her little cabin, you know? Interesting, very
It,
interesting.
it is really a perfect example of what we're reading right now, because the coronavirus it's always been there. It's been around forever. It's been there for as long as the flu has been there. We're just choosing to now focus on it, and that's where the media focuses. And so now everybody is just, everything is all about that.
Right.
And, you know, I go to work every day. I touch patients. I shake their hands. I wash my hands, and that's how us in the medical field are taught. Like, we deal with contagious diseases all the time. You just have to like wash your hands, and you know, that's it. It's, you know, just create. We laugh like at the ridiculousness of, you know, it's funny, but like you see the pictures of people with like 20 masks, and you know, it's so extreme, and it's all out of fear. It's really crazy what fear will do to people. So I kind of flip that and think about things that I'm fearful of, and I'm like, to everyone else, that's, you know, completely insane to a lot of other people. So it's just funny how we just have to like shift our perception. That's all it's about.
Yeah, I agree.
So like I think the collective consciousness of the planet is waking up. I really think there is this shift that you kind of referred to in the beginning of people becoming more conscious. Um, so with that being said, where are we as these conscious beings helping to minimize the fear of the unawake, so that we can mitigate that and kind of say, oh, let's put that to bed. Let's put this in perspective here. You know,
The
I mean,
$64
we
million
have a simple
question. That's it.
sorry.
That's the $64 million question. That's it. It's like, actually, we are so in place to make a huge shift that if we individually take responsibility for that, what does that mean? Well, to me, it means becoming very aware of where I'm placing my awareness, becoming extraordinarily aware, hyper aware of where I'm placing my energy, who I'm being, what I'm saying, what I'm doing, how I'm showing up for anything, for everything, even if I'm walking across my own living room and no one else is around. That matters. And it matters a lot. And I'm envisioning, just like I laid in that chair and looked up at the palm trees and envisioned myself being able to make it rain, whether I actually did that or not. Let's just say I did. Why not? I can envision a new world order of uh, unity, wholeness, unconditional love, balance, masculine and feminine being balanced, um, healing, returning to nature, returning to honor the feminine in nature, Mother Earth. Hello. What have we been doing to our mother? Et cetera and so forth. It becomes this very holistic picture for me. And that's my mission. I'm telling you, that's what I'm building this website for. Is in my teeny tiny little voice, I could consider that as what difference is one person's little website going to make? I'm like, you can't think like that. You have to just, now is the time to come forth with transparency, offer what you have to offer, don't judge it, and have a conversation with whoever wants to have a conversation about any of this.
Well, and everybody always starts with that beginning, whether it's Dr. Joe, right? If he, look where he is today and look at all the people that he's helped to wake up and heal, and but if he had that attitude, like, I'm just one voice,
right,
then that's maybe separation there, but also discounting that voice.
That's
and
correct.
Yeah,
That's right. So it's really owning the power
Mhm.
of your own mind, of your own energy, of your own influence, of your own ripple, etc. Instead of pointing a finger at anything or anybody. What you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your choices? What are you doing with any of it? I'm that's what's driven my deep dive inward, is because I was somehow sensing this, and I started to get a lot of information, and I started to look at the information. Now, I mean, I really feel like it's time to just fuck it. I'm just going to start talking about the information that I've been getting and considering. Well, whatever. You just put yourself on the line. It's like, people could call me a kook. I don't care. I don't care. I absolutely don't care if one person gets it or if everybody gets it. I don't care. It's time to play full out with what you've got, whatever that is. My humble opinion. I know. It makes me nervous. Yeah. Why? I don't know. Because it's unknown. I don't have any, ambition about anything. I don't want to become a famous this or that. I don't want to become an expert on anything. I just want to have a conversation that makes sense. I want to bring to the table what I've been thinking about. That's why we do this group. It's like, we don't have to do this group. I don't know. We do it because this is information that's could be helpful for expanding who we think we are,
Mhm.
and how we think things work. Certainly makes me think different. I'm going to always say think different because I like that better than think differently. It's more, I don't know, zippy. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think that the ripple effect is kind of huge. You know what I mean? I think that they said that, I don't know where I got this, but I remember hearing that when one person meditates, it affects like a huge area, geographical area. So, you know, if we all, like Power of Eight, if we all think in a certain way, that probably changes just enough around us and lifts that much.
That's right.
Which may then lift more as it kind of ripples out, for lack of a better term, you know?
Yeah. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. And it's very easy to get reactive when things are going so far south so quickly. You know, you just look at the election for 2 seconds, or it's just unbelievable. It's just like you can't make this stuff up, how bad it is. It is really bad. So you could be reactive and like, why is this guy in the presidency doing the thing, you know, whatever, the blame thing. Or you could think, I don't actually have to go along with this. If it really falls apart, that's actually a good thing, because something else can come in that's totally different, very different. It comes from a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of thinking about reality. And then I get excited. It's like, let the whole thing crash and burn. It needs to. This is not working. And so, you know, there could be a whole new way of thinking and being that comes in. The voice of sanity, the voice of unity, the voice of unconditional love. How do you do that?
Marianne Williamson.
Marianne Williamson, and like a lot of other people. She's not the
Yeah.
only one. There's
Right.
lots and lots, but the solutions are already there. Started to rain. That's a confirmation. Anyway.
Doesn't David Giocondi say that there's no good and bad, it's all the same?
Right.
So
There is
that,
no good or bad, but thinking makes it so. That's Shakespeare. Yeah.
and I feel like if I could trust that, then my thinking wouldn't go to, you know, down the toilet. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if I knew that, if I trusted more that, okay, today so-and-so said, I'll give you this much money to do this. And then the next day they say, oh no, I can't do that. And instead of me going, you know, doing the roller coaster of, oh, I have money now, I don't have money, yes, I do have money, just to go, oh, okay, all right, that's just what it is today. Tomorrow, you know, it's all the same in terms of, and then to ultimately believe that everything is for the good. Like you were kind of implying with, if this crashes and burns, then something good will come out of that.
I know that's true. I absolutely know it in my heart of hearts. I'm putting all my chips on that number. It's like, I know it because I've felt it, I've seen it, I've pictured it, I believe it, I am running with it. Absolutely. Like, I don't care who else gets it or doesn't get it. I need to get it. You know, I need to actually picture a whole different way of being, collective way of being. I totally understand. That's the what's demanded right now. It's sink or swim. We don't have a lot of choices on the table. We have to come up with a new world order. And it has to be based on how things really are. We're not separate. If there's people over there that don't have water, that's our problem.
Mhm.
It's true. It is just true. You know, all of this divide and conquer stuff is just, it's just made
Bulls.
up. It's lies. It's
Mhm.
lies. And I'm not buying the status quo anymore. And I don't watch TV ever. Never. No. La 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 la. They're not talking to me. I'm not buying the party line on any of it. None of it. Not okay. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Sorry. What you got to say, Nina?
Well, I'm just thinking how I just have a new perspective about fear, because I'm kind of grateful for it now, because it's like uh it's that's my trigger to think, oh, okay, your thinking is in the wrong direction.
That's it. Think different. That's it. That's the
Yes.
flag that says think different.
Right, right. And it's been interesting with everything falling apart. Like, well, not everything is falling apart, but
Just wait.
you know,
Everything will. It
yeah.
all will. It's gonna go. Yeah.
And different parts of life and stuff, you know, it just, when the fear starts talking and making the decisions, then that's when I'm realizing that I'm not living in abundance and faith. I mean, it seems simple, like duh, but at the same time, that's not the culture that we live in. So and then when things happen, like for me, just thinking of things that are happening in my personal world that don't affect like the United States or whatever, it's easier to get caught up in that smaller world, like what's going on at my husband's job. That's been a good little test area for me. Like, it's this delicate dance of doing the right thing, like protesting and standing up for what's right, and but being afraid, oh, but that eliminate his chances for a job? Maybe he shouldn't say anything, or maybe he shouldn't be. And then, oh, fear's kicking in. Okay, let go of that and trust and know and believe. And then I can see how I can have faith in something and believe in something, that, like my affirmation that he's got an amazing career as an artist and professor. He's highly sought after and like highly reimbursed, valued, like lucrative career, blah, blah, blah. This is my belief. I can believe that at the same time as watch this whole fuckfest happen. That appears to be doing the complete opposite. I can believe one way and see something completely different, and it feels weird, like I should not, like I should come to my senses and be afraid. I don't know, but I'm not. When I tune in to my what I know inside, then I'm not afraid. You
And
know
you
what I
point to
mean?
your heart. And you pointed to your heart when you said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like my sternum, like right
Right.
in my gut and my heart.
Right. So that's it. You know, that's the power of the divine feminine right there. You know, leading with the heart instead of the head. The analytical thinking is always going to try to rearrange the furniture, make it a different, you know, oh, we'll just fix it. You know, we'll put some band-aids on it and fire those people. Blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like, you got to be strong with your vision, and you got to share that with your partner, you know, and hold space for the whole thing, for him to think different.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really good.
I have a question for you, Nina, because
Mm-hmm.
I sort of go back and forth with this in my mind, but does that conflict for you feel sometimes like fake or forced when, you know, your brain is telling you to think one thing and then you know better that in your heart, it's really something else. Like sometimes I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like, am I just like faking it? I don't, it's weird
Mm-hmm.
to me sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I do question myself. I'm like, am I? Uh, I but then I realize I'm second guessing
Hmm.
my faith. So that's just like another little sidetrack. But yes, that happens, and I think I must be crazy. Like
Mm.
what? But then I go back. That's happening up here, but then I go back to here, and I, of course, I try to feed my faith all the time, and starve my fear. So that's important to constantly be working on it. And I feel like focusing on the negative, I mean, that I think that must be tricky. And I'm so grateful for my Mickey Singer and how he handled the conflict in that book, or how he shared how he handled conflict and struggles in that book, was just through surrender, knowing what the right thing is to do, knowing trusting that he would be guided. And so that's definitely an affirmation I reinforce every day, is I am guided to the next right step. I am guided into the future of my desires. And it's like, because that helps feed my faith in the situation. But it always, when I get away from the faith, it's when I'm all up here.
Cool.
I don't know
Thank
if that answers your
No,
question.
I like the whole I am guided thing. That's, that would work for me too. Thanks.
Well, let's time is kind of ticking by. Let's go on to our win, since you're on screen right now. Ash, why don't you start?
But wait, I want to read a poem for Nina that I just found today in this odyssey that I've been on. And it's from my grandmother, who was my dear, dear mentor. And it's: faith came to my room, and other guests took flight. Grief, anxiety, fear, and gloom sped out into the night. I wondered that such peace could be, but faith said gently, "Don't you see that they can never live with me?"
Wow, that's beautiful.
I had to
Thank
share that
you.
with you.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Gina.
Do you want to share your wins, Gina, or any other thoughts you might have had over the discussion tonight?
I'm actually, no, I'm having made a very, very unusual discovery about a family situation that happened to my grandmother, and I discovered it tonight, and can't really speak.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go back to Ashley.
Sure. Thank you, Gina. That was beautiful. So this week, I had 2 more firm orders from old PCs who wanted to get on the firm promotion, and that was from my Facebook post that was like over a week ago. They had just randomly messaged me, so that kind of sparks that I need to go through my list of other people that were on firm and reach out to them as well. And I had 2 new PCs, and then also my new brand partner had another RRP this Sunday, and there were no guests again. So she is learning the ropes very quickly that, this is what happens. It's just a numbers game. And, she got a little down about it, but, we talked about it, and, it's normal. And then it just so happened that Wendy Hatton did a little new brand partner training, and you know, she talked about that, and she watched it, and she was like, wow, that was really good. And she felt a lot better. But we also did a little game planning, you know, to work out some other options, because she's very motivated. She wants to, you know, earn her money back and then some. And she's trying to quit her one of 3 jobs. So I do have 2 other Class A's. And then, you know, I'm just revisiting my why every day. That's it for me.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Doreen?
I also had a PC, old PC contact me. So we still have to connect. So hopefully that will be good. I've been reading my why consistently, and so far I have no classics.
Is it helpful to read your why?
Yes, it is.
Maybe you should make a mind movie to go with your new why.
Oh yeah, I need to work on that. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you.
Could be helpful. Nina?
Yeah. So my wins are, I've been staying in almost daily contact with my new BP, and she had her first RRP, and Joy Murphy helped her because I had to work. And I'm just so proud of her. She's really gung-ho. She watched New York University. She had a coaching call with Carol, has marching orders for the next week, and she's really enjoying being connected on Facebook with the group, and she's just really, really excited. And so I'm just grateful for that, and really want to stay committed to helping her get 9 PCs before her 30 days. So at the minimum. So that's a win that's going well. It seems to be going well so far, even though she doesn't have a customer yet. And then I've got some lines out for some firm orders, and I'm going to New York City this weekend. Coronavirus or no, I'll be on that subway. So yeah, hoping nobody closes down museums or anything. But I'm really, that's a win, because I didn't, me of little faith a few weeks ago, didn't think it was going to happen. And then the universe provided free place to stay and free plane tickets for me to go with my husband on this trip with his students. And then the universe provided a $200 gift card that I won as a prize at Warby Parker that we can use to buy food. So like, I really wanted this to happen, and I was afraid it wouldn't. And then I just like worked on my fear. Just wish I'm getting better at it. But anyway, so I'm just grateful. I feel it's like a win. But anyway, that's all.
It's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Linda?
Beautiful example of manifestation. I love that. Great job. So let's see. Today I did a presentation with one of my brand partners at the Chamber of Commerce in Saraland, and it was smash out, so much fun. We just did a great job. We could see that people were really engaged, and I think a lot of good's going to come from that. And it's a fear, you know, to get in front of that many people and speak, but I wasn't nervous, really. It's funny. It was more excitement, and I see myself on stage. It's part of my mantra, my future, and just teaching about this. And so anyway, raining brand partners and PCs, and And listening to you guys, I missed last week and it was amazing. I did a new Mind movie. I sat down, I was up till really, really late, but put a lot of good things in there, and I'm enjoying watching it. I really got energized. And my other one was good, but it was a little stale. You know, I needed some new stuff in there. So that's a win. And I don't know. I guess that's it. You know, I'm very committed to talk to 100 people this month. That's it. I don't care. Yes, no, who, what the, you know, we're on that with Nina and Gina, we're texting in every day, and it's my commitment to talk to 100 people. So I'm keeping track.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
You're all awesome. Congratulations, everybody, for being so awesome. So Linda's up next week. We're going to tackle the chapter on time one more time. And then Doreen does the second half. So you guys talk to each other and decide where the delineation point is. No one posted on Power of 8. So we have a choice. We can either say goodnight and go our separate ways, or we can meet over there and maybe.
I actually posted last minute before we got on.
You did? You snuck in under the wire? Okay. So I'll see you guys over there.
Okay.
Thank you, Anne. This was a wonderful chapter. I really appreciate you giving it. I love our Tuesday night meetings. I love everything that we share together, and I love this book. It's wonderful.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
And I love your poem. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Thank you for sharing, Gina.
Yes, it was beautiful.
Thank you, Anne. It was a great session. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Yeah.